Have you noticed more and more of your friends disappearing? Whenever you want to have a catch up with someone, they're unreachable. Then you look on their Instagram story and it turns out they're currently gallivanting round in a different time zone. It seems the idea of spending an extended period of time on the literal opposite side of the world is the only way currently to cope with being in your 20s and British. Maybe it's the hotter climate or the more appealing lifestyle, or maybe even the idea of delaying proper adulthood back at home. All I want to know is why are so many people going to Australia and why haven't I? Hi, I'm Pia, I'm 25, and I'm having a quarter life crisis. Join me and my friends as we discuss our existential dread to try to solve our quarter aged questions. This episode: why am I going to Australia? Ever since I was a child, I've always wanted to go to Australia. I'm not sure if it's because my aunt lives there or my obsession with neighbours. Either way, I was dead set on having a gap year and going. Then I went straight to university. So I thought I'd do a study abroad year down under. Then COVID hit. It did seem that every time I had intended to go, something stood in my way, whether it was my own decisions or a global pandemic. So many people I know are taking the extended trip to the land of kangaroos and spiders, and I do find myself getting slightly jealous, as it was my idea 20 years ago, and they are all living my dream. There seems to be an increase of young adults going out to Australia. At the end of November last year, there was almost 250,000 Brits out on a working holiday visa. As more and more young people are becoming dissatisfied with living in the UK and apathetic to their futures, moving to the land of sunshine and beaches in Oz does seem very appealing. This episode's special guest took the trip down under 3 years ago, travelling up the east coast from Sydney to Cairns in 3.5 weeks. She is now back in the definitely sunnier and more fun country, England. It's the well-travelled Sasha!
Thank you for that.
Woo!
Thanks, Pia. Oh my god, I'm not sure it's sunny or anything like that, but, it's not too bad for a late September day today, is it?
Yeah, no, it's really trying. It's trying to fool us into thinking we're going to have a nice winter.
Fingers crossed though, we can only hope.
Well, I'm planning on not being here for winter because that is the plan to go off to Australia end of December. So,
Oh my god, exciting, that is you're gonna have the best time. I'd tell anyone to go, it's so good.
oh, well, 100%. Like, you can inspire everyone sort of through this episode. So,
That's the plan.
what made you decide to leave the UK in the first place then?
I think for me, when I was kind of like 16, 17, 18, and deciding whether to go to uni or take a gap year or anything like that, traveling was always something that was on my mind. And I did end up taking a gap year purely more because wasn't sure I wanted to study at uni. But in that gap year, I didn't actually go traveling. My parents kind of knuckled down on me and said no, they thought it was too dangerous and I wasn't allowed to go because I wanted to do the whole Asia route as well. And I think it was a different potentially a bit of a different story when our parents were kind of our age, and it potentially might have been a bit more dangerous back then because they'd heard some horror stories, but I found it perfectly safe out there. Yeah, I mean, Australia, I think for me, I kept seeing the lifestyle online and I'm pretty active. And I just love the whole idea of being out there, getting out the sunshine, and you get out, you maybe go for a run, you might try a bit of surfing. That really appealed to me. So that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to go over to Australia. And it kind of came when I went was in late 2022. So it kind of came as I finished my degree and I had a natural kind of break then. And also my boyfriend, he also had a natural break in his career. So it kind of worked out for us. We both wanted to go over there, and then we just bit the bullet and just went. Honestly, I think we booked the flights 6 weeks before we went, and we both had to hand in our letters of resignation for our full-time jobs and just go. So it was a bit crazy, but yeah, I don't regret it at all. It was something that I was always on my mind, and even there's that phrase, isn't there, that's like you don't regret the things you did, you regret the things you didn't do. So for me, it was like a calling. I had to itch that scratch, and if I didn't go, then I was going to kick myself for the rest of my life.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, whenabouts in the year did you go over to Australia?
So we left, I mean, very precise, November 22nd is when we went, and then we flew out just before Christmas because that week before Christmas and New Year's, yeah, I think we flew on the 23rd of December over to Bali because that week between Christmas and New Year's was crazy money for flights just to get out of Australia. And also, all the accommodation was really expensive in Australia around Christmas time.
Yeah, so you've got the nice switch of seasons coming from winter over here into summer down there, because that's what I'm planning on doing as well.
Yeah.
I'm planning on going out for New Year's, which, as you said, will be expensive, but I just wanna try and do Sydney's New Year, so I can in my head, I wrote it down maybe, like, 3, 4 years ago. I wrote, "I'm gonna celebrate New Year's in Australia." That manifestation, I have to do it.
Yeah, you have to.
It's on paper, it's there.
You've written it down, it's a goal, it's achievable when you're going. Yeah, I reckon 100%. Like, you know, if you've got the funds to do it, the Sydney New Year's Eve fireworks, they look out of this world. So I would definitely do that.
Yeah, I think there's, like, a hill someone said about that's free, you just have to get there super early, and I was like, "Well, I've got a friend that I'm going with, so we could just take it in turns to guard our spot and make friends."
Oh, it'll be amazing. That'd be so amazing. Yeah, because they say the same about the London fireworks as well. There's meant to be a hill, isn't there?
But that's not it's not cute and summery like, "Ha let's have a nice day out." It's cold, wet. I'm literally freezing just to watch some fireworks.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, it'll be amazing, exactly. And like, that's the best bit because you completely miss the winter. And I don't know about you, but some people love the winter. I'm definitely more of a summer baby. I just love the sun.
I'm 100% the same. The only thing that I think is better in winter is when you're trying to get to sleep and you can just, like, wrap yourself up in your duvet. That is all I'm excited about for winter, because in summer it's just so hot, and winter I'm like, "I can just put all the layers on, be nice and cozy," and that is the only thing I'm excited for with winter.
So true, so true. There is nothing better than getting into bed when you're freezing cold outside and just cozying up and just calling it a day.
So, where did you travel in Asia?
Yeah, so we went straight from Australia to Bali, and then we did Bali for 2.5 weeks, and then from Bali we went to Vietnam, and then we did Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand. It was just the most amazing trip. All in all, we were gone for just over 4 months, and I think that for us, that was the right amount of time. Because I mean, it's amazing to go and travel and experience all these places and all these different cultures and everything, but me and my boyfriend, we're kind of creatures of habit and, like, routine, and although it's, like, so nice just waking up every day and not really having a plan for the day and just knowing that you can just truly go with the flow, it's amazing, but, like, for us, like, 4 months, we were like, "Okay, just need a bit of routine, need to feel like I'm actually doing something kind of positive." And I think in hindsight, I had a bit more flexibility. My boyfriend wanted to get back and start because he was training to become a chartered accountant, so he wanted to get back and finish that qualification off kind of thing. So that's the reason why we ended up coming back. But I think if I was to go again, you can do these amazing schemes called, I think it's for a company or a website called Workaway. And we made some friends while traveling who also kind of felt in the same boat to us, that they just wanted to feel like they were kind of doing something a bit more worthwhile with their time, like kind of helping out, contributing in some way to the world. So they went to Nepal. They completely changed their plans and flew over to Nepal and worked in the Himalayas on some farm for like a month. And they just had the most amazing time. And it just gave them that like routine and kind of like purpose that they were craving. I mean, Australia is amazing. Australia is literally like the UK, but on the other side of the world. But it's just so funny to see people that are like so similar to us in terms of they speak English and like have the same kind of interests and hobbies and like same interest in music and films and art and all that kind of stuff. But then literally on the other side of the world. Like it's I don't know how to explain it until you get there. It's so strange. It's so strange, but it's just such a cool place.
Yeah, because my aunt, she moved there when she was sort of our age, even younger maybe. So I've maybe met her like a handful of times, because obviously it's so much to come over here and everything like that. And she's had a family growing up, and now they're a bit older. She's coming over a bit more. But I saw her yesterday, and it's so funny because we're talking about things like TV. So cultural reference wise, I feel like we're kind of in the same sphere. I wouldn't say we're in like the same level, but the same sphere. So there's things that we'd make references to that we'd understand. We're talking about TV yesterday and the things that she watches, and there's not much sort of original Australian TV. It's mostly sort of US TV, which is also kind of the same as us as well. But a lot of their stuff is kind of format wise our shows, like, like Maths Australia, Love Island Australia. But Aussie people, whenever they're on reality shows, I don't know what it is, but they're just like 10 times more entertaining. Do you find that?
Yeah, 100%. I find them just a lot more upbeat as a culture. You know, like they're such an outgoing bunch on the whole, I'd say, whereas some Brits a little bit slightly more reserved.
I feel like we're just all miserable because our country is damp.
We're all vitamin D deprived.
Yeah, that's
We're
it.
all vitamin D deprived.
If we all took our vitamin D supplements, we too could be Australia.
We can only hope, right? Maybe if we all get SAD lamps then, and take, yeah, loads and loads of vitamin D, then maybe.
It just wouldn't be the same though. Everyone would be so much happier and we're like, but the country's still pretty bleak though. When you got to Australia, how did you travel your route? Did you do any coaches? Did you fly? How did you travel around the country?
So we flew into Sydney and then did Sydney for, I think we did 5 days. And then we actually, so you can get the Greyhound from Sydney all the way up to Brisbane, but we flew straight to Brisbane only because we were slightly short on time with the 3.5 weeks. So we flew to Brisbane and then we took the Greyhound from Brisbane all the way up to Cairns. I could not fault the Greyhound at all. It's so, so, so good. I think I paid a student price because I still had my uni days at the time, and like it was so cheap. I think I got a month long pass for like £120, I'm gonna say. But the amount of mileage you're covering in that is crazy, and they're comfortable. You reserve your seat. The booking process is so easy. I think we just did it on the app. Everything was just so smooth sailing. Like you'll be on a bus for 12 hours, they'll stop off so you can get like some water and some snacks and stuff. So I would really, really, really highly recommend the Greyhound buses. Like genuinely could not fault them. They took you from like every single tourist hotspot along the east coast of Australia. Yeah, they were perfect for us, and that's kind of how we travelled.
That's really interesting what you say about the Greyhound because I'm trying to convince my friends that I'm going with to do the Greyhound. And apparently, like, there's loads of TikToks being like, oh, they're quite gross and stuff. But the thing I sort of feel about it is they'll do like the stops, they'll make sure you see the sights. And also, you can see a lot more on the ground than from the sky.
I mean, obviously, like, it was 3 years ago that I went, so I don't know if things have changed, but I can only speak from my experience, and I didn't think the Greyhounds were grim at all. Like, if you take, for example, I don't know if you've ever been on a Megabus or a National Express or any of the coaches, like a Flixbus that we run in the UK, they're pretty much exactly like that, except, like, you can recline the chairs and perhaps the chairs are a little bit bigger. Don't get me wrong, it's not luxury transportation, like, you're pretty tall like I am, so you're slightly cramped for but I wouldn't even say you're cramped, like, I genuinely wouldn't, like, my boyfriend's 6'4", and, like, even he found it okay, honestly, for, like, leg room and stuff. I don't think it's when we were on them, they were clean, so it is a shame if generally they have gone downhill.
But then again, I don't know if it's people having too higher standards. Like I am just expecting it to be a coach. Like obviously you're on it for a while, but if people are like, I was expecting it to be this, obviously they're gonna complain. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly, yeah, so I think that's the thing with travelling. Of course, perhaps people going to Australia and thinking they're going travelling, they're thinking they're obviously still very much going to a very developed country and think that everything's gonna be luxurious and plush. Well, I mean, it is, but it is still a coach at the end of the day, and even in the UK, our coaches are just kind of a bit meh. Like, they're nothing special, right? Yeah, I think you've just gotta go in with understanding that you're travelling and you're not getting in your mum's lovely car and she's driving you there as a chauffeur. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just gotta have some realistic expectations because genuinely, like, there's nothing wrong with them from my experience. I think we did quite a few of them, like, probably at least 5 or 6, and all of them were completely fine. And they were long journeys, like 10 hours plus, and, like, we managed to sleep. I think they even had Wi-Fi on the Greyhounds. I'm trying to remember if we had SIM cards. I think we probably had SIM cards as well, but you could definitely connect to some form of Wi-Fi at the time because I remember it was either was it the World Cup or was it the Euros? Must have been the World Cup perhaps, and, like, they were watching the football matches on the bus.
I'm gonna tell them this because I was like, if you really don't want to do a Greyhound, potentially we could like do a camper van or something maybe. But then obviously we're gonna have to drive. At least like a Greyhound, you can just sit back and not have to do anything. But also, I just feel like you don't get as much from it. So, do you think you have any tips and tricks that you'd like to share with me and anyone else with regards to traveling to Asia and Australia?
So I think, for me, probably the biggest tip or trick is quite often if you're traveling with a friend or partner or whoever it might be, and you're close enough to, consider sharing a bed, right? Then 9 times out of 10, we found that actually booking a private room in a hostel for 2 people worked out cheaper than 2 single beds in a dorm, or even like a budget hotel, like an extremely budget hotel, if you go on like booking.com and stuff like that. So my tip would be to kind of try and do that, like book a private room. Sometimes you can get twin rooms that's somewhat close to, it depends what vibe you want from your traveling, right? But we were still 22 at the time when we went, and we kind of wanted a mix where we wanted to be able to go out and have fun, have a few drinks and have a laugh and party. But we also wanted to have our own space where, like, if we didn't want to stay out until 4 a.m. one night, then we weren't gonna be woken up by other people in our dorm. So what we would do is go onto booking.com, find a budget hotel that was within our budget for the night, nearby the hostel that, if we were gonna stay in a hostel, we would have picked. So one that was kind of like a party vibe, say. And then we would just stay there and walk over to the hostel around whatever time prees might be, I don't know, 8, 9, and kind of get involved there, because you'd still then have the opportunity to get chatting with other people and make friends and go out for the night with them and find people to travel with. But you wouldn't have to necessarily have people waking up in a dorm at 4 a.m., which for us, I think was a game changer. Another tip and trick I would recommend is always talk to the hostel staff. They're so knowledgeable. So they will tell you like all the best places to go, all the best trips and tours to do. And, sometimes you can get a discount through your hostel. We went on some amazing tours that we booked in Vietnam through the hostel. One was the Ha Giang Loop, which is like a motorbike loop through the northern Vietnamese mountain range. I don't know if you've seen people do that, but it's just the most amazing experience. Or you've obviously got Ha Long Bay up in northern Vietnam as well. That's such a nice boat cruise. That was probably the best accommodation we had in the space of 4 months, was on this, I don't even know what it was. It was such a humongous boat. It literally looked like an ex cruise ship kind of. And like our bedroom in there was honestly like a 5-star hotel. Had a bath, like a balcony, like the bath overlooks the Harlem Bay. It's just so picturesque and lovely. So tips and tricks, yeah. Just chat to the people that work in a hostel or hotel. Even if you're not staying in the hostel, I found from experience that if you just walk into a hostel and just go to the reception and just ask for advice, 9 times out of 10, the people that work in there are so, so friendly and lovely. Like, they'll help you even if you're not staying there. Another tip and trick, definitely get a SIM card for the country you're in, because it just makes it so much easier. Like, as I was saying, we're such an online generation. Everyone wants to get online. Everyone does their maps online. It just is essential. And if you're in countries within Asia, for example, like just pop into like a 7-Eleven and you'll get a SIM for the month for literally like fiver. It's like nothing. I can't remember what we did for 4G in Australia, but we definitely had it. So I'm going to assume we got a SIM as well.
Yeah, especially with like eSIMs now as well. It's quite easy to do.
So easy. Yeah, I recently got back from Mexico and we had a eSIM for that, and it was like so simple. The setup time was literally 2 minutes and you're away.
Amazing. Have you got any highlights, any fun stories that you'd like to tell us?
Oh God, so many. And let me try and think of like some of the best things that we did. I mean, so many highlights. They do a jet skiing safari in Airlie Beach. We literally just booked that online, I think maybe through Get Your Guide or something. And that was so, so fun. Australia is also really big for skydiving, and we're in Mission Beach and really wanted to skydive at Mission Beach, but the weather conditions just weren't right. So I would say if skydiving is something you're potentially considering doing, try and think of several different spots along your travel route in Australia where you could possibly do skydiving and where you'd like to do it, because chances are you might not be able to do it in your first chosen location. So it's good to have a backup location if that's something you really want to do, because we didn't get to do it. So that was a bit of a shame.
I don't think skydive is slightly terrifies me too much.
Oh, really? Oh, no. You should do it. I think it's one of those things that, I mean, I say, like, I've literally never done it, but I can imagine it must be one of those things that, like, is so, so terrifying in the build up to it. But I think once you've actually done it, like, you'd probably land and be like, that's the best thing ever. I think, I know we touched on it briefly earlier as well, but the Whit Sundays tour on a boat, I think we did just one night. You can do 2-night tours as well. I think that was by far, like, it was just amazing. Like, we're on a sailboat. If you've got the right winds, the captain will probably they'll actually sail the boat rather than use the engine, which is pretty cool. Just a nice experience.
Oh, love that. And sort of moving on to not lowlights, but is there any not so good experiences that you had while you were traveling that you think you can maybe impart the information on so people wouldn't have the same experience?
It's got to be the actual travel days themselves. Traveling is amazing, but it's not everything. When you look online, right, of course, you only see the highlights. You don't see that long travel days are so, so draining. You're going to be hot, you're going to be sweaty, it's going to be humid, you're going to be hungry, you're going to be tired. Like, It's just a recipe for disaster. You're gonna get snappy with whoever you're traveling with, whoever's around you, just because of, like, a culmination of all those factors, like, no one wants to be in that situation. There's literally no point in pretending that that aspect of traveling is fun. The actual traveling aspect is horrendous sometimes, particularly in Asia. Probably the worst was we were on a 12 or 14-hour coach from Laos to Thailand, and we got on, and, like, it was like a sleeper coach, and, we were given this blanket, and honestly, like, it stank. This blanket stank of, like, literally just like urine. Like, it smelled so bad, and, like, it was freezing on this bus because there was, like, aircon on it, so I kinda had to use this blanket. As we were continuing on this 12 to 14-hour coach journey, they were just piling and piling and piling more and more and more locals onto the bus, which obviously completely fine. However, like, the bus was completely rammed, like, there was way too many people on that bus. So it's a bit crazy like that when you're in countries that kind of have less health and safety regulation, because we were literally like sardines on this bus. Like, they were lying in the walkways, and it was just like everyone was literally on top of each other. Like, I think this random guy, this random local guy, was literally just like borderline half sleeping on top of me. It is pretty mental sometimes, particularly if you're going to go over to Asia. Australia, I wouldn't say there's too many surprises in terms of traveling. It is pretty bog standard. You get on a coach, everything's, health and safety, the same as it is in the UK, and not really any surprises in that sense. But apart from, obviously, you still need to be aware that it's long and it's grueling, and you're going to be tired and hungry and not in the best moods. That, I think, is the low light of it. Just a harsh reality that in order to travel, you do therefore need to travel, which some people, I think, overlook.
Why do you think so many people are traveling? What do you think the main appeal of it is? And not just for yourself, because you sort of touched on it earlier, but why do you think so many people are doing it?
I've got to be honest, it's got to be social media, right? Like, everyone sees it everywhere now, and it almost feels like if you haven't gone, you're missing out. And I think there's such a feeling of FOMO these days, and it's like, I feel like you just see it everywhere. Now, I guess it depends technically what algorithm you get on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, but so many different influencers and so many people are making it look like the best thing ever. And it is, but as I've kind of mentioned, there is definite low times involved with it. Also, I think another thing with traveling, sorry, just to comment on a low light again, I guess, is everyone says about all the friends you make, right? And you do make great, unique, amazing people, and they're so lovely. But quite often they're short-term friendships because you might be not taking the same path, like you might be doing a different route. So it's not actually the same as having like your family and friends back home where like you know each other on that deeper level. So I think that is sometimes another bit of a low light, because I think you can sometimes feel a bit like everything's just so short-lived. I think if you were to go traveling and do like a season in the country or something, and meet people and you're all gonna be based in the same location for a few months at a time, then I think that's a bit different. But if you're just kinda going on for a few months and you're constantly moving, then everything's short term.
I have done seasons, and it is weird because you are with these people every day and it is like really intense friendships. But there's very few, if any, people that I speak to on the 3 separate seasons that I did. Like, and you're still in touch with them weirdly because of social media. So I'm still really aware what they're doing in their lives, which is such a weird thing. And it's really funny how social media keeps cropping up. It's really weird how that's like, you're getting FOMO, you're seeing other people living it. And it is the thing about social media, it is you're not gonna necessarily post the negatives on it. So it is always the highlights that you're getting.
I think the problem with it is like there's so many different versions of what like your life could look like at 25, you know? Like, I've got friends that are getting married next year. I've got friends that have bought or are buying houses. I've even got friends that literally own 2 houses and they're our age. Like, that's mental to me. I've got friends that are still doing degrees. I'm one of those people. I'm still doing like started another degree. I've still got friends that are still traveling and doing seasons, back to back seasons. It's such like a unique age, I think. And I think when you go online and you see people doing these things that you're not doing, you instantly start comparing. You're like, like I'm behind because I haven't done that. Like, I've got one of my friends at the moment at uni, and she's like, oh, like I really want to travel. Like, I can't believe I haven't traveled. And I entirely get why her mindset's like that. But she wants to go. But has she really missed out? Like, she's done a degree, she's doing another degree, she's worked a couple of good jobs, and someone who has potentially only travelled might then hit a wall when their quarter life crisis might be, "Oh, like, I wish I got a job. I wish I'd done a degree. I wish I'd done." I think it weirdly probably goes both ways. In an ideal world, everyone wants to, like, have done and achieved everything. It's just not possible. There's only a certain amount of hours in the day, and you can't do everything. And I think when you go online and you look and you just instantly start comparing, like, it's natural, it's human nature to compare and be like, "Oh, but I haven't done this, I haven't done that." And I think it does. I think you're right. I think it does stem from social media because it's so much easier to compare yourselves to so many different people, like you're saying, people that you're actually not even close with, like, anymore. You know, like, you might look around and be like, "Oh, but so and so that I went to school with 10, 11 years ago has just done that. Like, that looks amazing. I can't believe I haven't done that." It's definitely got its pros and cons because I think it's brilliant for seeing what's out there in the world and giving you inspiration. But then, yeah, the con is people panicking and feeling like they're behind and feeling like they're missing out on life when that isn't the case. I think it always takes a step back to kind of reflect and be like, okay, but what have I done and what have I achieved? And everyone's life is unique, everyone's path is unique. Someone will be jealous of the path and the life you've had and the path and the life you've chosen, but you ironically might be jealous of their path and their life. I think everyone's different, and I think you should just try and grab as many opportunities as you can while you're this age. You might look at traveling and think that looks amazing, but until you actually go and do it, you might find out traveling's not for you. You might absolutely hate it. You might be drained and you might be tired all the time, and you might miss home. Everyone is different.
I think also we're only 25, we're mid-20s, we've still got so much of our life ahead of us, and it sort of feels that you've had to have done everything, but you've got so much time to have done those things and still to do them. Nothing's set in stone. And I think also with regards to traveling, we are obviously very lucky that we are able to do it. But I think sometimes people think they always see social media is the highlights, but it's looking at highlights from everyone's life at once. And it feels like I haven't achieved this when this person's done this person's done this person's done it. But it's three separate people that have all achieved a different goal that is suitable in their lives. Like, I've got a friend that's had a baby, I've got a couple of friends that are buying houses. I'm seeing so many people getting engaged at the moment, like a ridiculous amount in the last month. Like, insane, but everyone's moving at their own pace, and I think sometimes do have to look in on yourself, and it is very hard when you're in your mid-20s because you're still discovering yourself. You think, "Oh, I've reached adulthood, I should know who I am," but there's no reason you should, and you've still got so much time to change, to become a different person because you're only at one stage in your life. This isn't who you are gonna be for the rest of your life.
No, I completely agree. You can wake up one morning and change your mind on who you wanna be and what you wanna do. Like, I think that a lot of people forget that sometimes, like, especially because as a country, it's almost like we define ourselves to a certain extent by what we do for work and what we do for a career sometimes, and people get so wrapped up in trying to climb the corporate ladder and stuff that they forget to actually enjoy themselves and reach their own personal goals, and I don't think that anything needs to be rushed. Like, everyone should just lean into their own timeline and just appreciate that. I know it sounds really cliche and cringe, but, like, life is, like, special, like, a beautiful thing. So, like, just accept that, like, everything that you want will come. There's no point in trying to rush it or force it.
That's such like a lovely ending. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and chatting to me about your travels and your experiences and giving me some information as I've been writing notes this whole episode to impart on my friends I'm going with. So I just want to say thank you so much.
Oh, I know, you're so welcome. Let me know if you need any more info, but no, today's been super fun.
Amazing. Well, I'll let you go off for the rest of your day now. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Sasha. Once this chat concluded, I finally did it. I booked my flight to Australia. After dreaming about it for my whole entire life, I'm finally flying to the other side of the world to join all the other British young adults. I'll be arriving just before New Year's Eve, so I'll be able to celebrate 2026 before anyone in Great Britain, just like I wrote on a random piece of paper 4 years ago. I think recording this episode really motivated me to go because you can keep putting things off for various excuses, but sometimes you just have to make the decision because if you can just book that flight and go. I mean, at the end of the day, it's usually the things that you never do that you regret the most. Thank you for listening to this episode of Quarter Life Crisis. Why am I going to Australia? Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you are listening to the podcast. Tune in next week for the final episode. Why do I get the ick from dating apps?